The teachers here listen to you, and they understand.
One teacher is so great because he sees the good things we do.
Our teacher asks us what we think.
Everybody plays a part. That's what I like.
I like this school because people care.
A school is a community dedicated to learning and to helping students grow into responsible citizens. A classroom community doesn't automatically motivate students to cooperate. Teachers and administrators have to create the conditions for cooperative communities to exist. Cooperative discipline creates these conditions with the encouragement strategies that build self-esteem and the collaboration strategies that invite teachers and students and parents to work together to solve discipline problems.
When students choose to misbehave, they are trying to satisfy real legitimate needs in inappropriate ways. To keep misbehavior from continuing or even escalating, teachers need to use strategies that show students that their message is heard. So in addition to using the intervention strategies to stop misbehavior, we have to use the encouragement strategies to show students that they can satisfy their needs through appropriate behavior. When we encourage students, we help them feel capable, connected, and contributing. Students need to feel capable of completing tasks in a manner that meets the standards of the school. Students need to believe they can connect successfully with teachers and classmates. And students need to know they can contribute to the group in a significant way.
Capable, connected, contributing. Important words in the character-building process of education. But just what can teachers do to help students feel capable?
My teacher doesn't make a big deal out of mistakes.
No, don't be upset if your paper has a few mistakes on it. Look at all the hard work you've put into making it better. Look at this one is right, and this one is right, and this one is right.
Boy, do I feel dumb when I'm having trouble finishing an assignment and the teacher says, it's easy. Mr. Johnson never does that. I mean, I've been studying for days and days, hours and hours. I just can't seem to get the point.
You're right. This is a tough assignment, but keep going.
Okay.
I know your effort will pay off.
I work hard for teachers who believe in me, who give me credit for knowing something.
Your report about the space shuttle was really interesting and full of some fascinating facts. Would you be willing to help the group that's working on the space exhibit for the science fair?
Sure.
When I get stuck on the math problem, my teacher reminds me of how good I did in another assignment.
Take your time. This is a tough one. Remember what happened last week when you got stuck? You kept at it and eventually you figured it out.
Our teacher keeps the record book for us. When she shows me what I'm learning and tells me how well I'm doing, it makes me feel good.
You're just learning one skill after another. Look at all the books you've read. You've read this book here and this one.
Would you believe that when I finally learned my Spanish words, Miss Mears had the whole class give me a standing ovation?
In addition to feeling capable, kids also need to feel connected. It's been said that kids don't care what you know until they know that you care. When we use the connect strategies, we demonstrate that we care.
Hello, come right in, Lucy. Silas, I was thinking about you yesterday. I heard that song that you were telling me about.
Did you like it?
Yeah, it was real cool. I liked some of those sound effects. Except, I can't remember the name of the group.
It was Green Day.
Green Day. Okay, great, thanks.
Where's my lunch?
I ate your lunch.
You ate my lunch? Michael, your predictions on last week's games were correct. Can we make it 2 in a row? What are your predictions for this week?
Let's see. The Cowboys gonna be booked.
No, never gonna happen.
And
and they're gonna go to the playoffs. Yeah, I think so.
Anthony, I really appreciate it when you help me clean up after science class. That way it's ready for my next group. Thanks for your help.
That's okay.
Let's make sure all these are.
Girls, I admire your creativity. You have some great ideas.
Thank you.
Acceptance, attention, appreciation, affirmation. All necessary ingredients to keep a student feeling connected to the classroom community. But as in any community, members feel most valued and like they belong when they know they can contribute to the welfare of the group, when they understand that their personal welfare is linked to the welfare of others.
It's my job to take notes at the class meetings. I'm one of the volunteer tutors. Our class collected food for the needy at Thanksgiving. We help with recycling in the cafeteria.
I'm in the friendship circle. We help kids feel they belong.
Capable, connected, contributing. The building blocks of self-esteem and perhaps the best discipline tool we have for influencing students to begin to think differently. To choose appropriate behavior, not out of fear of punishment, but because it benefits them to do so. Encouragement is not a quick fix, especially in working with discouraged students, but it provides part of the foundation for creating cooperative classroom communities.
Boys and girls, today we're going to talk about our code of conduct.
Another tool in creating a cooperative classroom is collaboration strategies that give students a voice in decisions that affect them. With a code of conduct, students learn to monitor and evaluate their own behavior and are accountable for their choices all of the time. A code of conduct is not just another name for a list of rules. Rather, the code defines the operating principles for everyone in the class, including the teacher.
I think you know what being responsible means, which is to take care of things yourself. Now let's talk about some things we want to do to be responsible.
There's no behavior that is not covered by the principles that these students have identified as their code of conduct. Students can't justify their misbehavior by saying, "Nobody told me I couldn't do that." The I statements on the code signifies a commitment on the part of the students to adhere to the operating principles.
Unlike rules which some students try to break and just not get caught, the code fosters cooperation and not defiance.
I'm willing to follow the code because I helped make it. Kids in our class are nicer to each other and the teachers are nice too. Sometimes we catch a teacher doing something that's against the code, but she always admits it too.
Lindsay, is the behavior you're choosing now appropriate to number 3 in our code of conduct?
Well, I guess not.
Because sometimes when you pick up equipment, when you're choosing to pick...
Austin, given the code of conduct we agreed to abide by, what should I say to you now?
I guess I shouldn't have done that.
What else can teachers do when students violate the code of conduct? They can use any of the intervention strategies for attention, power, revenge, or avoidance of failure. Or they can negotiate solutions through a conflict resolution conference, another collaboration strategy for creating classroom communities.
Conducting teacher-student conferences to resolve conflicts isn't something new. What's different here is that rather than using the conference to impose solutions on students, teachers engage students in a dialogue that invites them to take shared responsibility for resolving the conflict, thus demonstrating faith in students' ability to choose appropriate and responsible behavior.
Are there any other kinds of things that you've worked on in the past that you've had some success with for getting the temper under control?
Just wait and think about something else until I got my temper.
Do you think Mr. Jenner would have understood that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe appreciate
Not every misbehaving student, however, will be willing to negotiate with teachers in good faith. Note how teachers can respond to the blocking behaviors difficult students sometimes present.
I just don't say much.
Anna, what are some ideas you have for solving the problem of arguing with me every time I give homework and then bringing the work in late?
I don't know.
Can you think of anything that might be done? Anna, since you're not ready to talk about it right now, I will decide what happens. My thought right now is, each day you come to school with your work not done, we'll make that work up in time out. Your behavior will decide what we do.
The last thing most students want, especially those who choose a lot of power and revenge behaviors, is to be left out of the decision-making process. Faced with a teacher ready to take unilateral action, most students will quickly come up with appropriate responses.
I say things I know my teacher will never agree to.
What are some ideas you have of solving the problem of arguing every time I give homework and then turning it in late?
Well, I think you just should stop giving me so much homework.
That doesn't solve my problem of knowing where you need additional help. What other kinds of suggestions do you have?
Our challenge with unworkable solutions is to reject the suggestions and still encourage the students' continued cooperation and negotiating.
I blame others.
What are some of the ideas you have for solving the problem of you arguing with me every time I give you a homework assignment and then turning it in late?
Lots of kids argue with you. Some don't even turn their work at all, and you always blaming and picking on me. It's not my fault others cause trouble.
I hear you, but what your classmates do is not the issue. I'm not interested in placing blame. I'm interested in finding a solution for the problem of you and the homework.
Whatever.
How skillful students are in implicating everyone but themselves. Oftentimes, they throw up bogus issues like being picked on. Refusing to get sidetracked into such issues keeps the conflict resolution process moving forward.
I get ugly.
John, what are some ideas that you have for solving the problem of your arguing with me every time I give a homework assignment and then turning the work in late?
I don't know why you're making such a big deal out of nothing. So what if I ask a few questions? Big deal.
John, I'm talking to you respectfully, and I expect you to talk to me the same way. We'll search for solutions together, or the conference is over, and I'll decide what happens next. It's your choice.
The teacher in these examples was never boxed into a corner. In a calm, respectful manner, the teacher kept control of the conversation and invited the student to participate appropriately.
To invite participation and then take unilateral action should the student refuse to cooperate. That's really the extent of our power when resolving conflicts.
Teachers don't have to go it alone. When a student's behavior needs more structured intervention, teachers can take advantage of their colleagues' experiences by pooling their knowledge and sharing their successes to find the most effective combination of intervention and encouragement.
Well, I've just about had it with Mitchell. He's not turning his assignments in again, he's making insulting remarks, and he's using foul language again over and over and over. And I've tried just about everything I can think of. Is there anything that works?
Well, I can see that you're frustrated and you've clearly got a power struggle going on.
When I feel like you do, I know that it's power, and actually it might even be a little bit of revenge in there with those insults.
What do I do when he does it again?
Let's take one of those misbehaviors at a time, Sharon. For instance, like the insults. One of the things that I try to do is to use humor when that happens. And if Mitchell were to say something to me, I would respond back to him with a sense of humor. Now, he might get really angry at me, for instance, and say, "You're really a mean teacher." But what I might say back to him is, "Yes, I work really hard at that, but I don't do it in a sarcastic way. But I also make sure that I have some consequences for the behavior that he chose. And so I will be asking him to give me back some time for the time that he has taken from the lesson from that."
Well, I'm not sure I can be funny when I'm mad at him, but I'll try it.
The insights parents have about what works with their youngster can help us make effective choices for intervention and encouragement. The action plan process follows 4 simple steps. Pinpoint the misbehavior, identify the goal, choose intervention strategies, select encouragement techniques. These steps can form the framework for teacher-parent discipline conferences. During a conference, Teachers can help parents create a plan to use at home that reinforces the teacher's efforts in the classroom.
And then we can both compliment you and let you know that we're proud of you, that you're following through with the homework calendar.
The cooperative discipline approach helps teachers establish safe and orderly classrooms by finding effective solutions to classroom disruptions that can lead to violence. Motivates students to choose responsible behavior and apply themselves academically. Involves parents as partners in the discipline process.
Perhaps the hardest lesson I've learned about teaching is that change begins with me. When I gave up wishing my students were different and changed what I was doing, the more my students changed what they were doing. Don't ever underestimate the tremendous power you have to influence students' choices. Teachers do make a difference.